Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome to our holiday Christmas yoga flow. I did one last year. I was wearing a little sparkly Christmas sweater. This year I have a red theme going on. I even have red tights, so I feel like Santa's helper, a little elf. It's a little bit of fun this week, just a few postures, a quick little flow to get you ready for the holiday season. And I know lots is going on in the world right now. I hope that you all, first and foremost, are happy and healthy. I hope you do get to see your friends and family, but in the safest way possible. I know that it has been a long time, but I hope we're going to see the end of this and get through it together. So let's have a little fun with some of these poses, quick and easy, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the posture. Here we go. End of the flow, sorry. So I'm going to start sitting down on my mat. I'm going to move the chair out of the way. As always, the chair is an option. I'm not going to be flowing too much between the chair and the mat today. I'm mostly going to be standing up for a few of these poses. So the chair is always there for you to sit in and modify poses, or to hold on to the chair to help you in some of the poses. We'll be doing a lot of balance poses today, mostly because they were easy to come up with fun Christmas names for. No other reason other than that. But we always want to start our practice with a little bit of just grounding and breathing, even when it's just a little bit of fun that we're going to be having with our postures today. I'm just going to push the chair out of the way a bit. As always, you can practice in the chair and make modifications as needed. Child's pose or just standing up nice and tall are all options at any time if something doesn't feel good or you need to take a break. And you can come into any pose that feels great for you. But before we get there, let's take some time to settle in, close our eyes, spend a few minutes breathing and just trying to be present and grounded. I know that for a lot of us, this time of year is hectic and busy, and sometimes that's really great, and sometimes it can feel a bit stressful. There's a huge to-do list. So let's just put all that aside. Just take it out of your mind, plop it down beside you for a few minutes here. Take a few breaths. Just notice where maybe you're holding that tension, that stress of the season. It doesn't matter if you are holding your breath in your belly, or your stress rather in your belly, or in your heart space, or in your shoulders. Can we all just try and soften in whatever spaces that we find we're holding on to tension? Before we sort of try to get inward and turn our thoughts inward, I just want to acknowledge the noise that you may be hearing outside of my yoga space here. It is the holidays, and although we are staying in and not seeing people, that's the choice we've made. My husband and daughter are having a lot of fun downstairs, so apologies if you hear some Christmas cheer. It'll just add to the fun of the flow today. All right, back to the breath. Take a big inhale and exhale. Try to just tune out whatever you're hearing, whether it's through the video or in your own homes. And just listen to the flow of the breath. Listen to hear rather than feel even. Hear if the breath is flowing freely or if it's kind of stuttering or staggering a bit, so you can notice tension or stickiness or stress in other ways. Try to spend a few breaths just trying to smooth that breath out. And if setting an intention or creating a little motto for your practice is something that you like to do, go ahead and do that now. It can be anything from I am present, I am ready, I've got this, to I'm going to have a little fun today. Anything that resonates with you, just repeat it to yourself a couple of times. Take a few more breaths. If the eyes are closed, maybe go ahead and flutter them open. And we'll start to bring a bit of movement to the breath. And we're going to start by just sweeping the arms up, inhaling. And then exhale, hands come down to our side. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do one more. Really reach. Inhale, reach, 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 reach. Imagine sort of reaching through both sides of the body. And then exhale. We're sitting up nice and tall. This time we'll inhale to reach up. Let's let the left hand fall down. Right arm reaches over. So imagine you're really needing to ground through that opposite hip. You need to stand your ground as you reach for the most wanted toy of the season. Stand your ground, root through the hip, and reach, 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 reach. Good. Then we'll inhale. Let's go to the other side. Root down through the opposite hip. So root down through this hip, stand your ground, and reach out through the side body. Really reach. Imagine you're trying to put the star on top of your tree, or reach for the last packet of stuffing. Reach, 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 reach. Good. Let's flow a little bit with breath. Inhale and exhale. Reach, reach, reach. Root down through the hip. Move with your breath. And inhale through center. This time, let's take a twist as we open up towards one side. Look over your shoulder. Can you spot Santa? And then inhale to reach up. Exhale, other side. Maybe you can spot Mrs. Claus. Inhale, let's reach up. One more time on each side. And inhale. Last one here. Inhale to reach up. Good. Exhale. Let's bring the hands down. We'll just do a few seated cat-cows. If you prefer, you can roll on over to all fours. In fact, I'm going to do that. So we'll come into our reindeer posture. Let's uncross the legs. Make our way to all fours here. Stack the knees. Stack the wrists under the shoulders. Create a nice firm base. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Drop the belly to inhale. Of course, you can stay seated for your cat-cows. That's an option. And then exhale. Tuck that reindeer tail and really draw the antlers down towards the floor. Round through the spine. Good. Inhale. So you can imagine Santa's reindeer getting ready for the big flight. They've been working on their cardio. And they've been stretching and strengthening for the flight. All right, add any movements that feel good in the body. You may want to find a little bit of a lateral bend in the side body here, or you may want to even roll through the spine. You could stay in stillness here, or even roll forwards and backwards. So anything that feels good in the body, switching sides when you are ready. Just limbering up. Again, we're in our reindeer pose, getting ready for the big flight in a couple of days. Good. From here, let's take a break. Bring the big toes together, open the legs up wide, sit the hips back over the heels. Go ahead and melt down into a child's pose. So a nice sleeping child's pose, dreaming of sugar plums while they wait for Santa to arrive. Here's our child's pose. Take a few breaths. And then we'll lift the forehead here. Let's come back up into our tabletop, our reindeer pose. Keep the knees wide. We sort of made a bit of space when we went into our child's pose. Keep them wide. And let's find a few big breaths. Let's inhale, sweep the left arm up as we open up. Press into the right arm, open up towards the left. Take a big inhale here, and then exhale and thread the arm underneath. Don't stay. On the inhale, come back up. And exhale, twisting through the core. One more big inhale here. And exhale. This time stay down. Lower the forehead or the side of the face. And then with our support arm, let's press into the mat or reach it up and or reach it around. Maybe we can even hook our hand onto our opposite thigh. I'm in a big pretzel here. I don't know which hand is reaching where. Find what feels good. It's like a twisted candy cane pose here. Take one more breath. If you've reached around, let's lift the arm up, bring it back down to the floor so we can press into it. Inhale to sweep open and exhale. Lower that left hand. Let's go to the other side. Knees stay nice and wide. It'll just help with opening up the body a little more. We still want a nice firm belly and a nice flat back. On our inhale, let's press into this left hand, sweep the right arm up and open. And as the exhale now, we'll thread right arm underneath left. We won't stay here, we'll just exhale. And then inhale to open. And exhale. One more big inhale here. Exhale, lower down and stay lowered, forehead or side of face down to the mat. You can press into your support hand here to help deepen the twist, or lift the arm up and or reach it around the back. Maybe you can even grab onto that opposite thigh. Again, in this big twisted candy cane pose, I have no idea which hand is reaching where. Just find what feels good and take 2 more breaths. On your next inhale, let's release the hand if we brought it around and bring it back down to the floor so we can press into it to help open up. Last big inhale. And exhale. Lower the hand down. Walk the knees in so they're lined up behind the wrists. Flow through a couple cat-cows, or if you practice vinyasa in your practice, go ahead and turn the toes under and we'll just flow through a downward dog. So we can lift the knees, lift the hips, push the hips back, find a downward dog, or maybe a downward reindeer. What's the Christmas name for this posture today? If you're here, go ahead and pedal out the feet, again in preparation for that big flight coming up. Settle in, look forward, and then walk the feet up to the top. Just dangle here like a little rag doll, like a broken toy. Just dangle, dangle, dangle. Shake the head yes and no. And then start to maybe release the hands and roll the spine up nice and slow. Shoulders will roll, head come up last. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale, draw them down through heart center and release. And now we're back up standing. No matter how you got here is perfect. And again, you can be seated in your chair or standing up. We're going to flow through a fun little balance series. And as I mentioned at the beginning of class, you may want to use the chair for support, or you may be sitting in your chair. Lots of options. So let's come into a bit of a Christmas balance flow. I'm actually going to keep my chair close by. I never know how balance is going to go, and sometimes I need a little help as well. Balance is different every day. It's different on every side. So whatever happens, let it happen, and we will get going. So let's start with equal weight distribution in both feet. Maybe lift and spread the toes. Maybe even just rock around on the feet a little bit to get a feel for all 4 corners of those feet. Good. All right. Come into standing. Really engage through the legs here and think about drawing the belly in so the hips start to draw up towards the ribs here. Nice firm core. We'll roll the shoulders down and back. So we're just trying to stack our joints here. We want to have a bit of softness in the knees. We want to stack ankles, knees, hips, shoulders. So we don't want to be leaning too far forward or back, or we're going to lose our balance. All right. Take a few breaths here. Settle in. For our balance pose, as always, we can start with our hands at heart center. Sometimes this sort of pressing the hands together helps you find your balance. Some of us may want to have our hands on our hips. Some of us want to start with our arms out wide to help counterbalance. So you can change your mind at whatever time you need to. to begin with, let's see if we can come into our star pose. So let's transfer all the weight into our right foot. Step the left toes out. Remember, we're going to engage through the core here. Nice work happening in all of the muscles. Squeeze the bum. Maybe we can even lift those left toes off the mat. Maybe we can come into our star pose. So lots of Christmas stars, whether they are on the tree or just in the sky. Coming into our star pose here. Oh, if you touch down, no problem. Just try to find that balance again. Remember to send energy out through the fingers and toes of the star. All of the points of the star are shining bright. Awesome. Now, where would we put a star if we were celebrating Christmas or if we were decorating our tree? That's right, we put it on our tree. So we're going to see if we can smoothly transition into a tree pose. You may need to touch the toes down and they may stay there connected to the ankle, or maybe they're going to come up and find the inner calf muscle, or maybe if it's in your practice, you can find a really tall tree by bringing the foot into the inner thigh. We just don't want to rest it on the knee. So that wasn't a smooth transition for me, was it? I'm going to bring my foot connected to my inner thigh, feet pressing into leg, leg pressing into feet. Hands come from star to heart center maybe, or maybe they stay lifted. So if we're reaching to put that star on the top of the tree, maybe we want to create a bit of a Christmas tree shape and bring the hands together. Wherever we are, we're going to stay for 5 breaths. Really rooting down through the support foot. Really using whatever props we need to help us in our balance. If that's touching the toes down or using the chair, go for it. I am in a windy forest today, apparently. I am being rocked all over. Let's take one more breath. Inhale. Good. Let's come out of it slowly as we turn the knee forward, draw the hands down, give ourselves a big hug. Maybe we stay here. Maybe we lift that left foot over and sit into just our elf on the shelf posture. Toe can be down or lifted or tucked behind the leg. So just remember our elf on the shelf, if that's something that you do in your family. They're always watching, keeping tabs for Santa, but we might even here in our elf on the shelf pose try to close our eyes, see how that affects our balance. I'm not doing it. My balance is all off. Take one more breath. One more. And then let's press out of our elf on the shelf. Step the feet wide, and now we're out in the snow with our empty coat sleeves. Shake it all out. Shake it out. Good. All right. Let's try that all on the other side. Now, I really struggled on that side, so I'm going to actually bring the chair over to this side in case I need it for a little bit of support. But as always, for any balance, whether it's a fun holiday Christmas flow or any balance we try, we want to start with just grounding down through both feet equally, finding energy in the legs and the core. Hands can be at our heart center, on our hips, or maybe we want to start with them out wide. So find what works for you. This usually works for me, doesn't always. And then we'll try to find that star pose. So remember, we're going to transfer the weight into the left foot and step the right toes out. Really feel the glutes engage, the belly, and then we might lift the toes and maybe lift the arms and find our big star. Imagine that star shining bright in the sky, on the tree. Remember, if you need to touch down or use any kind of support, go for it. That is what the props are for. They're to help you find a little bit more time or energy or depth in a posture. Never be afraid to use your props. Never be afraid to touch down. Never be afraid of anything in yoga. It's a practice and every day it's different. All right, let's see if we can place our tree on top, our star on top of our tree by bringing our foot in, maybe toes touch down at the ankles, maybe they find our calf, or maybe they come all the way up to our inner thigh. Find what works for you. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the tummy, find that tall Christmas tree posture for 5 big breaths. Remember, your breaths are your breaths. It doesn't matter whether I've done 5 already or whether I've done 2. When you're finished your 5, start to rotate the knee in, bring the hands down, maybe cross them over the opposite way from the last time. So if you had the cross like this, maybe put the other arm in front, give yourself a hug and stay seated, maybe crossing those legs, coming into your little elf on the shelf posture, watching out for Santa to be able to report back. I know we've all been good. We're all on the nice list this year. Stay for 3 more breaths. All right, let's come out of our elf on the shelf, shake it out. Empty coat sleeves, maybe you're throwing a couple of snowballs. Just let it go. All of that balance is now in the past. Awesome. All right, like I said, a quick and fun flow today just to get us in the holiday spirit, to help us maybe get rid of some of the holiday energy that we're feeling, and help maybe ground us a little bit. So let's move into some more seated postures. I'm going to make my way back down to the ground here. Feel free to flow through a vinyasa or just step down to seated and find your way down to your belly. So for me, I'm going to flow through a little vinyasa. Join me if you'd like. I'm going to step up to the top of my mat. Inhale here. I'm going to exhale and fold forward. So take a big dive forward. Come all the way down. Then come up halfway. Find a flat back. Exhale again. Plant the hands and step back to your plank or maybe all fours. Awesome. And then from here, make your way down to your belly. Come all the way down. All right, we're going to find what I call the Santa sleigh shape. So we're going to come into a little back bend. Option is to do one leg at a time. If you're doing one leg at a time, to begin with, right arm comes in the front parallel to the short edge of the mat, and we reach back for the left leg with the left hand. And then we're going to try and square the shoulders off, and that's one leg. And then if it's a full bow or full Santa sleigh, we'll reach back to grab both ankles or feet and see if we can kick those feet up towards the ceiling. And you can see we've created a little bit of a sleigh shape. Try to kick the feet up towards the ceiling, feeling a nice opening through the front side body here. We're going to stay for 4 more breaths. If you've gone into the single leg, maybe now's the time to change legs. I'm going to stay in the double sleigh shape here for 2 more breaths, keeping the energy kicking up towards the ceiling, feeling the opening through the front side body for 1 more breath. And then let it go. Release the feet. Try not to slingshot them. Use a bit of control. Good. And maybe just fold the hands. Lower the forehead. You can walk the feet wide. Shake the hips out a little bit. And then walk the feet back in. Bring the hands down towards the side ribs. Press yourself back to our sleeping child's pose. Take a few breaths. Send a final wish to Santa. And then lift the forehead here. We'll walk our hands back up. And for our final resting posture, feel free to come into any comfortable position. You could be seated on your shins like I am. You can roll down and lie on your back. You might want to sit cross-legged, just how we began our practice. We just want to find a few minutes here to wrap up, no pun intended, wrap up our little holiday flow with a few mindful breaths. And then it will be time to get back to your family and your celebrations and the rest of your holiday time. So wherever we are, maybe we'll close our eyes if that feels comfortable. Making sure our shoulders aren't creeping up towards our ears. Making sure we find a bit of softness in our belly. Take a few breaths and just start to scan the body. Just notice if there are any areas you're holding on to, any tension, and maybe breathing a little loving kindness that way. Maybe notice if we're holding on to or harboring any anger or frustration with the pandemic and what's happening in the world today, and see if we can't find, I don't want to say a silver lining, but think about the people that are helping, think about the people that are doing all this work to try and end the pandemic: doctors, scientists, researchers, fellow church members, people giving out gifts, people singing carols, people just dropping in to say hello, people keeping their distance if that's what's important and what's keeping everyone healthy and safe this season. So think about all those people doing their part to make the pandemic safer. I know it's tough out there right now. And then try to settle into our Shavasana, which is a time for integration and rest. And it's just a time for us to pause and reflect on the year, the week, the day, the practice. Take a big inhale and then let it all go, all of it, the year, the week, the day, and the practice. And when you feel ready, start to wiggle through fingers and toes, circle wrists and ankles, waking up your bodies, ready to take on whatever comes our way. Let's take a big inhale together. Sweep the arms up overhead. Draw them down through heart center. We can leave them at our heart center in prayer, or drape them over our hearts, or rest them comfortably in our laps. And once again, I want to thank you for joining me here today, for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces, for having a little bit of fun with me today. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, be safe, healthy, and joyous, and I hope to see you again here next week. Take care. Thanks, everybody. That is our holiday wrap flow for 2021. I hope it was fun. I hope you actually maybe even feel a little less stressed if you started off feeling stressed. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I will see you here again next week for a final 2021 flow. I can't believe it already. Until then, Merry Christmas and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.